Let's talk a little about video editing. The process that every YouTube video has to take in order to be uploaded to this platform and be a little bit more watchable. And the more you know about how to edit videos, the easier it gets to get more watch time and retain people for longer. But what if you don't actually know how to edit videos in the first place, or you have a little bit of experience? Today I'm going to take you through how I edit my videos. And how would I relearn video editing again if I had the chance? The first thing that you need to understand about video editing, it's actually a way. It's only a way in order to show and make videos come to life and present them clearly to the viewer. That's why every YouTube edit for maximum retention and more watch time needs to have 4 elements. The first element is A-roll or your voiceover. The second one is B-roll. The third one is text, and the fourth one is visual effects and sound effects. These 4 elements complete a timeline and make your video a little bit more watchable and more enjoyable for any viewer who watches your videos. That's why you need to understand them in order to create the best quality content that you can. The first one is A-roll. This is exactly what A-roll is. The footage that you present to the viewer, the footage that you want and the story that you're telling, and it's actually the baseline for any YouTube edit. And you can't really create any type of video without an A-roll or a voiceover. This is why it's the most essential and the most important part about your video, which you have to master. Now, there is different types of A-roll that you need to understand in your niche, and it's called formats. The more you understand your niche formats, it's going to be easier for you to film that A-roll. And with easier A-roll, your editing process will be extremely smooth. And when you import your footage to your editing software, this is where step 1 comes in, which is cleaning the footage. I want you to remember the last 5 videos that you actually watched and enjoyed. It was clean, without silences and without hums and ahs and filler words. And this is what we call in the editing world cleaning up the fluff. Removing anything that isn't essential in your timeline, which makes the viewing experience so much smoother. Now, this is a process that takes a lot of time, and in order to make it easier, you have to understand some simple tricks to make it easier for you. Shortcuts, for example. It's actually a really fantastic way in order to clean up A-roll and even B-roll. Assigning shortcuts in your video editing software is going to be a game changer when you actually practice more of video editing. Now, the second tip is film everything 3 times. The first one is always going to be a little bit harsh. You're going to make mistakes, you're going to add some filler words in order to regain your train of thoughts. But the second time is going to be a little bit easier. But the third one is the charm. You will be in full tune with that script or that mental idea that you want to present to your viewer. And after finishing your A-roll and cleaning up the fluff, it's going to be a lot smoother. But in order to make it a little bit seamless, you have to understand that you need to watch your A-roll again and again and again. And to make the experience for the viewer a little bit better, you have to watch it once without audio, and the second one is without looking at the screen, noticing errors in the visual side of the video and in the audio side of the video, and then watch it the third time with both. This way you will understand how to improve your A-roll a lot better over time. And the second step of editing your video is adding B-roll. And this is where everything goes wrong for beginners who start video editing. They want to put everything in the same time. That makes the process of actually understanding and making a flow of scenes in the video so much harder. So focus on one part, that is adding B-roll. Don't think about anything else. When you finish your A-roll, start thinking about your B-roll. And if you don't have a B-roll shot list, you will find a link in the description with a template I'm using in order to create B-roll that you could use in your videos. And having a B-roll library is going to make everything faster and it's going to make everything smoother, and you won't take a lot of time creating a simple type of video, because the more you're prepared, the easier it gets to actually visualize and tell a story with visuals. And after adding your B-roll, you should think about text. And this is the third part and the third step in editing your YouTube video, which is adding text that co-aligns with the thing that you're saying and giving context to the viewer about your story, your information, or even your background. But to use text in a perfect way, you have to understand that text is actually about emphasizing a certain moment in the video or a certain information. And you can't overuse it because it could be distracting and not easy for people to actually read. That's why use it with a purpose and try your best to minimize the use of it. Now the fourth step is adding sound effects and VFX. Now some people don't use them, but think of them like the cherry on a cake. They take a lot of time to actually implement in your video edit, but the more you practice and the more you add visual effects and sound effects that co-align with your video edit, is going to make the experience a lot better for any viewer who watches your video. And you can use sound effects to emphasize movement, actions, and transitions, and even text appearing on screen. And visual effects is the perfect way in order to show information and make transitions. Now, this is the most basic way in order to create a YouTube video and the basic information that you need to start right now. And if you want to be a better creator, do not forget to subscribe.